That's gold. So, hello, welcome back, Bookish Besties, to another video. As you can see by today's title, we are going to be talking about the books that I read in January. The 8 books that I read in January. 8. Yes, you heard me right. I am back on track after November was 4 and December was 1. We're back to reading, and I could not be more excited. Even with my new job, I feel like I still ended up reading a lot this week. Well, I finished 2 books still this week. So, with that being said, let's hop right into this video. Let's not keep blabbing, and we're just gonna hop right in. Because like I said, I read 8 books, and some of these were some chunky books. We also have to look at my stats for the month, okay? I read 8 books, which I've said about 4 times now, which equated to 3,220 pages. I do include page counts for books I DNF. Just so you know, because if I'm reading a book and I read at least 100 pages of it, I'm including that in my page count for the month. I listened to 4 hours of audiobook. I have an average rating of 3.81, which is very much skewed because of my DNF. I read 4 physical books, 1 audiobook, and 3 ebooks. I didn't read any books in the library. I haven't utilized my library this month. I will be doing that in February, though, probably. I had 2 5-stars and 1 reread. So I would consider January a very, very good month. I'm starting off on the right foot. Some people probably read twice as much as I did this month, but I'm kind of my lucky stars. I re-slept 8 after slumping out November and December. So we're back and we're better. And next month, I'll read like 12 books. Or this month, because today's February 1st and I'm filming this. So, happy February to me. Happy Black History Month to me. With my stats out of the way, let's hop into the first book that I read in January of 2026. My first read of 2026, which was Brought for Bride by T.J. McGuire. This is a dark mafia romance book, which it's an arranged marriage, really, between the daughter of the Russian mafia, and then the oldest son and the Italian mafia. This was so good. Am I falling back into my mafia romance era? I think I wrote in my review of this on Goodreads, I used to read a lot of mafia stuff when I was in my Wattpad era. Reading this book felt like going back to my roots, which is Wattpad. That's how I got back into reading, was Wattpad, and then I actually started picking up books again. It felt like it was 16-year-old me sitting here reading a Wattpad story. Okay, but like so much better written, so much more lovable characters, and like just overall. So in this book, we are following. You cannot pay me to know how to say these names. We are following Ileana. She is the only daughter in her family. There is 4 of them, and she's the only daughter, and I think she's also the youngest. Okay, she's a bad bitch. She's not, your sit down, I'm just gonna look pretty. She actually, her father uses her to like go people, okay? And so the Italians reach out to make an alliance with the Russians, and they're like, sure, we'll do it, but another way we can make a strong alliance is by marrying these 2 together. And so her father gives her the choice of whether she wants to marry Alex. I'm gonna call him Alex because I don't know how to say his actual name. Is that even his name? Yes, it is. And so she's like, yeah, I'll do it, and they get married. My 2 things that really just did not give this book 5 stars for me was, 1, it felt like it was very much insta love. It felt like they saw each other, was like, oh, you're attractive, let's get together. And I feel like they didn't really get to know each other. I mean, they're in the middle of a war, so figures, but you would at least think they would get some time together where they got to know each other more, but they didn't really that much, which is what threw me off. But also, too, like, I guess that's the only thing, is like not enough romance from them two in general. Like, I enjoyed the plot of this. The plot gets like 3 stars on its own. And then the romance, I gave it like a 1.5 based on the romance, if you're tracking it that way, just because there wasn't a lot of romance. And I was like, I want more. I want them to get to know each other. It feels like they met, they separated, they met again because he broke into her house, decided to get married, start getting to know each other, these things, start sleeping together before they even really get to know each other. Boom, bam. Say I love you. Word. I will be continuing on to book 2 and maybe even book 3 this month. I have booked on my TBR. It's a series that I can see myself like falling in love with and binging probably at some point. So, my second read of the year was my first 5-star of 2026, which, not shocking, I kind of picked this book with the intention of it being a 5-star, and that is Bad Blood by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, which is the 4th and final book in the Natural series by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I kind of figured this was going to be a 5-star. Something told me 5 stars. I read book 4 in November and that was 5 stars, so there was no way this was not going to be 5 stars, and it was. 5 stars is a feeling, okay? And this, yeah. The beginning of this book, the first couple of chapters of this book, I was like, I don't get the point of it, but then we got to like the thick of things, and I was like, oh shit, shit's happening, what the fuck? It was so good. I really, really enjoyed this. I just don't think this is my favorite in the series. I think All In is still my favorite in the series just because I love Sloane, and that's when we get more of Sloane's backstory. But this is definitely a close second favorite in the series. But to give you a synopsis of the series itself, because I cannot explain this book without spoiling it, so to give you a synopsis on the series, in this series we are following these teenagers as they are in the Naturals program. They have these natural abilities where they can, 1, read your facial expressions and kind of tell what you're feeling and what you're expressing. 2, really good with numbers. 3, human lie detector, also really good at lying herself. And then 2 people who are just can profile you based on what you're wearing, what you're doing, and things like that. And so we're following them as they solve cold cases, but then it becomes a bit bigger once they realize that they're part of a bigger scheme. And this whole thing, yeah, this phenomenal conclusion. Without giving too much away, Cassie and Dean. The plot twist, the ending of this book, the plot twist that we get in here, the plot twist in general. Jennifer Lynn Barnes is so good. She will throw about 5 different things at you so we can all come to the same conclusion. And, like, it's hard to, like, connect them all together, like, stay with it. And speechless is what I am. So, definitely do recommend the series. The next book that I read and finished in January was Beneath the Sugar Sky by Shauna Maguire, which is the 3rd book in the Wayward Children series. I read these like palette cleansers or just kind of like in between things. They're really short, quick, and easy for me to get through. But basically in this world, you have these kids who go through these doors and into magical worlds. And some of them, you're following them in their magical worlds. And then some of them, you're following them after they come out of their magical world and having to cope and deal with now they're back in the real world and they don't know what to do, which is where the Wayward Children come in. So, in this book, you are following a main character who we've never really seen before, and she is the daughter of a character we meet in book 1. And so, I gotta try to figure out how to work this. They go on an adventure to get her mother back. I'm not gonna tell you why or how, just to get her mother back, because if they don't, she will soon not exist. Yeah, so this one I did not like that much. I didn't like our main character that much. I didn't really like the storyline in general. It felt very weird. After books 1 and 2, book 2 is definitely my favorite, then book 1, and then book 3. Just because I like the characters in book 1 and 2 a lot more than I do in this one. Our female main character in this one, she is newer to the school that they go to, and so this is kind of like her first time experiencing something like this. And so it's just a lot. It's different than the other two books. And I think I gave this book like a 3.5, if I remember correctly. I would recommend the series because I really enjoy the series as a whole. And I am excited for book 4 because of who we're following in book 4, if I remember correctly. So, we'll see. The next book that I read in January was my other 5-star and my reread of the month, and that was Daughter of No Worlds by Carissa Broadbent. I'm not going to go into too much with this one because I have a whole video that went out, I think, a week before you're seeing this video about this book, where I read this book in its entirety in a video for you. I do have a plan to read book 2 this coming weekend and one weekend and have that video up for you as well. So I hope you're looking forward to that. But with that being said, this is my 3rd time reading this book. The first time I read it, 24-hour readathon, kind of mushy in my brain, gave it 3 stars. Second time I read it, fell in love with it, 4.5, one of the best books ever. This time, really solidified my 5-star feeling that I got from it the first time I read it. Once again, 5-star is a feeling, and I got, like, the way this book makes me feel, insane. To give you the short, sweet part of this, in this book, you are following Tasana as she escapes from pretty much slavery and goes to these magic orders in Aura. They literally are called the Orders. And she is like, I want you to teach me how to do magic so I can go back and save these other people who are indentured to this really bad guy. And so they pair her up with Max. Max at first is a little bit like, no, I want nothing to do with the Orders because of my past. I'm not training her. I don't care. Then him and Tasana kind of start bonding, and he's like, fine. You have a purpose. I want to train you. And so he starts training her, and we go on this journey of them going through the training, her getting accepted into the Orders, and so on and so forth. I'm not going to go into detail. Like I said, I have a whole spoiler-filled vlog of this book that if you want to watch me read this, you can go and watch me read this. But it's just 5 stars, no notes. I love Tasana and Max. Tasana and Max are probably, not even probably, they are my favorite, like, fictional characters I have read about in a really long time. Besides, like, Jude and Carden, like, those are my babies, okay? Nothing will ever take away from Jude and Carden. But Tasana and Max are up there with, like, Jude and Carden as, like, God tier favorite MMC and FMC ever. The next book that I read in the month of January is probably on my, like, top 10 favorite books of the year list. And I know it's early to say that, and I know this isn't a 5-star, but the impact this has had on me and, like, some things it's touched on in the book really, like, touched some deep places in me. And that is Warrior Princess Assassin by Bridget Kimmerer. When I first started this book, it was very much 5-star feeling, loved it, but then as we kind of grew deeper into the book, it kind of decreased, and I think I gave it like a 4.5. I still really fucking enjoyed this. I actually think, if we're being honest here, it's probably more along the lines of 4.75 because of how much I love this. And like I said, I took this on this topic, so definitely look up your trigger warnings because this is a darker fantasy romance book. It even has some triggers listed out at the beginning of this book. So yeah, keep your mental health in check when you're reading it. Like, keep it in mind before you go into this book. So with that being said, we are literally following a warrior, a princess, and an assassin in this book. Princess Jory has been arranged to marry King, I forgot his name, King Kai of his other kingdom. Do not actually pronounce these names of these kingdoms, but she has been arranged to marry King Kai of this kingdom, and he has his fire magic, and his fire magic is destroying his lands, and his people are growing hungry, it's destroying their fields, and so he is allied with Princess Jory's father and her brother because her father has the magic to control, like, different elements and the weather and things like that. So he's hoping that by marrying her, they will help him get his country back in order and his kingdom back in order. And then you have our assassin, our precious baby assassin, Asher. Asher, he has been an assassin. When he was younger, his mother was a lady in waiting for Jory's mom. When Jory's mom is murdered, pretty much, his mom is executed and he gets put out, so he ends up becoming an assassin. And one day, he gets a job, the order to go and assassinate Princess Jory and King Kai, and he's like, oh my god, what should I do? Goes and tells them, and they're like, okay, someone's after us, we're on the run, and we're gonna go back to his kingdom. But there's so much more at play here between the romance, because, like I said, these two, the princess and the assassin, Jory and Asher, friends, best friends when they were younger. So they already have a connection. And then she meets Kai, and she's like, I'm also infatuated with you. So basically, Princess Jory has two boyfriends who may also happen to also be boyfriends. So if you don't like thruples, don't read this. If you don't like polyamory, stuff like that, don't read this because it's very big. It's not a love triangle. She is literally with the both of them, and then they are literally also with each other. Again, Asher goes through some things because of how his life after getting like excommunicated from like the royal family and stuff. So he goes through some stuff. So that's where the story kind of gets darker in terms of things. But I really enjoyed this. The political intrigue is very high. I do want more of that in the next book. Like, I love seeing their romance develop and their relationships develop, but I also want more integration of the plot. I never realized how shiny this book cover was, and so I'm trying to figure out how to put it in the lighting where it's not like super shiny. Anyways, I really enjoyed this. Like I said, top 10 of the year already, just because how much I love this, and I will never shut up about it. I literally was like, what? I think I'm like 30 pages in when I decided that I wanted to make an annotation system and I wanted to annotate this later on down the line. So that just tells you how much I enjoyed this. Definitely do recommend. The next book that I read was the Omegaverse book. This also kind of felt like going back to my Wattpad roots because I used to be on Omegaverse when I was reading Wattpad. But the book is Baby and the Late Night Howlers by Catherine Milne. This is the first book in a series, but I don't think I'm going to continue on with the series. I just wanted to read this one because I remember reading it a couple years ago, and I kind of wanted a palate cleanser after reading Daughter of No World and Warrior Princess Assassin back to back, because both of those have like darker undertones to them. So I was like, I need a palate cleanser. Let me read something smutty and fun. And that's literally what this was. I gave it like a 3.5. But in this book, you are following Baby. That's literally her name. As she discovers that she's Omega. She has presented as a beta for most of her life. And she is one of the rare cases of Omegas that present very late in life. And so her life takes a turn and she has to find a pack to kind of settle down with because her heat is oncoming and coming. It's like coming and it's coming fast. And she picks this biker gang. Who I really love. They're amazing. I truly in like Omegaverse fashion. And she picks like 4 or 5 different alphas who I adore. And she even picks a beta. You have Seth. You have Bomber. No. Seth. I can't think of their names. Green. I cannot for the life of me think of their names because there's so many of them. But I really did enjoy this. I just very much, by the time we hit like the 50% mark, I was so over the smut. But we proceeded to get like smut, even more smut, which I get. She's in heat and everything, but like, it was still so much. And I was so overwhelmed. And I was like, oh my god, because there's an actual like plot also going on in this, where there's this biker gang that has been like this rival biker gang that has been kidnapping Omegas and Betas for their own use and selling them off. Yeah, it was, and they wanted Baby. They wanted Baby. Yeah, they did. So there was also that like plot line of things. It was just a lot, and I was like, too much is going on, there's too much smut, there's so much plot, where do I go? And I was like a deer caught in headlights, okay? But I still really, 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 really enjoyed it and cannot wait. I cannot wait to read more Megaverse. I don't think I'll continue on this year. Like I said, I know that other books interest me. And so I don't think I'll continue on in this particular series, but I kind of want to read more Megaverse. So if you have all Megaverse recommendations, let me know. The next book that I read was Wayward by Amelia Hart. I have been putting this book off for a very long time. I got it in like March of 2023, I believe, and I've been meaning to read it, never have. Finally got around to reading it. This is very much outside of my comfort zone. This is a historical fiction and magical realism book. So you are following 3 different POVs and 3 different timelines. You have 2019 with Kate, then you have 1619 with Alta, that's how I say her name. I don't know if that's correct or not. And then you have 1942 with Violet. And these women are all interconnected. They're all related in some way, shape, or form. And so you are following them in their 3 different timelines. Kate, she is fleeing from an abusive husband to the Wayward Cottage, which she inherited from her aunt Violet. But she begins to suspect that there is more at play and that there's some secrets hiding within this cottage. 1619, Alta is waiting on trial for being accused of murdering her ex-best friend's husband. Yeah, and then you have Violet, who was basically trapped inside her family's grand estate. Her father watches over her very closely. She has been pretty much raised by her nannies and people like that, never really known her mother until the unfortunate happens, and they take her also to Wayward Cottage because of the events that happen, and she discovers more about her mother and where she comes from. Y'all, this book touched some heartstrings, and it's not my favorite book. I don't think I will ever consider it like a favorite book of mine. I gave this a 4-star. I really, 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 really enjoyed it. This book is really good about women empowerment. I saw some negative reviews on Goodreads about it, and I can see how we kind of got to some of those conclusions, but in my mind, this is like basically women taking back power from evil, corrupt men in their own lives. That's how I saw it. I don't know if anybody else has read this and that's not how you saw it, but that's how I saw it. I really, really, really enjoyed it. I do recommend you look up trigger warnings for this. I did not know going in that those days were going to be in here. So when I was reading some of those days, I was kind of like, whoa, and wished I had known that before going into this. Some of it is a trigger for me as well. So I definitely recommend looking up trigger warnings. There's a lot of topic touches on mental health and things like that. So I definitely recommend. I really, really enjoyed this. It is such out of my comfort zone that I enjoyed it more than I thought I was. The last and final book that I finished in the month of January was Unhinged by Steph Mackham. This is another dark Why Choose romance. I saw Laura reading it on Goodreads and talking about it, and I was like, I want to read it. And so I read it. This is a silly, goofy, fun time. That's literally what this read was. I think I gave it like a 3.5, 3.25, somewhere in there. That's where my rating sits. Somewhere in there. I don't know like where, but somewhere. And there it sits, okay? And so I really enjoyed it. I did. It was silly. It was goofy. I probably would have enjoyed it more if I listened to the audiobook, because that's what everybody recommends. But I just read it on my iPad, enjoyed it. I kind of touched on it in my vlog that you will see after this video. Before this video, sorry, that vlog is already up on my channel. It went up on Wednesday. So I really enjoyed it. I'm very much Why Choose girly pop, okay? And I really like Why Choose romances. And I really want to read more of them. I want to own more of them. I don't think I own any on my shelf currently, but I definitely want to make like a shelf of like my Why Choose romances when I get some more and read some more. But I digress. And this one, you are following Avery as she gets admitted to the Lily Dale Foundation Center, which is the home of second chances. Basically, they're people who are supposed to go to jail, but it's just to give them time to reinvent themselves pretty much and get out and be better people. Um, at least that's what they say. Because this place is crazy. They lock them in their rooms at night. Okay, they take classes like they're actually in school, so they can get a chance to complete and get a GED and stuff. They have free time. Their showers are monitored in time. Like they only get like 3 minutes to shower. It's kind of crazy. And some dark stuff goes on in this book. So definitely look up some trigger warnings. I will be continuing on with this series because what the fuck was that ending? Why and how? Who? Too many questions. But also, I don't see how this is white shoes just yet. I mean, the main character Avery was with two guys in this book, but I digress. Okay. I did have one DNF this month. I did DNF the what is it called? The Legends of Despar series this month. I DNF Vows and Ruins. I had 274 pages in. I was nearly 50% in, forcing myself to read it. Literally started it on the 2nd of the month and DNF'd it like maybe 2 weeks later. I was just not having fun with it. I really wasn't, and I can't force myself to read things, and I'm just not going to. 2026 the year, quality over quantity, and I just cannot do it. I don't care enough about the characters or the plot to want to continue on or finish that book. So I made a decision to just DNF the whole series. I'm so sorry. Not really. It's making me happy. I haven't thought about it since. So, which is crazy because 2 of the Patreons that I'm in are currently doing buddy reads of this series, but I just don't want to read it. So, with that being said, that is everything that I've read / DNF'd in January. That's why my average rating is as low as it is, because I have a 1 star in there. Because I read over 200 pages of a book, and I'm definitely going to rate it when I read that much of a book. So, I did really enjoy my reading month, though. I hope February is better. We're off on the right start. I'm trying to finish out Wretched by Emily McIntyre and Gideon the Ninth, and then I'm starting Quicksilver probably after this video, so don't even get me started. But with that being said, have a great day, evening, night, morning, afternoon, whatever part of the world you are having it in. If you made it this far, tell me your favorite book or favorite thing you did in the month of January. And I'll see you guys in my next video, which should be a vlog or either my God Tier series video. One of the two. But I'll see you guys nonetheless in my next video. Okay? Down below will be my Goodreads, Instagram, and my favorite for you to just follow along if you want to see more of me. So with that being said,